In 1969, a killer mailed a coded message to a California newspaper. He said the cipher contained his name. It took the world's best cryptanalysts 51 years to crack it. When they finally did, in 2020, the message still didn't contain his name. The Zodiac Killer murdered at least 5 people in Northern California. He sent 20 letters to newspapers taunting the police. He threatened to blow up a school bus. He sent pieces of his victims' clothing as proof. He was never caught. He was never identified. San Francisco police still have the case open today. And somewhere in a 13-symbol cipher that has never been solved, a cipher the Zodiac himself said contains his name, the answer may still be waiting. I'm Atlas. This is Dark Verdict, where we don't stop until we find the truth. It's 1968. Northern California is at the center of everything. San Francisco has just come down from the summer of love. The Bay Area is full of students, drifters, artists, and activists. It's a place that believes in freedom, in open spaces and open roads. In December of that year, something changes. 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl on a first date, are parked at a spot called Lake Herman Road outside Benicia, California. It's a lover's lane, nothing unusual, until a car pulls up. A man gets out. By the time anyone finds them, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen are dead. No witnesses, no motive, no apparent connection between the victims and any suspect. Just 2 teenagers and a killer who walked away clean. The police file it as a double homicide. They look for connections, motives, leads. They don't find any. Then, 7 months later, it happens again. July 4th, 1969, Independence Day. Darlene Ferran and Michael Mageau are parked at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. A car pulls up alongside them. A man shines a bright light through the window. Then he starts shooting. Darlene dies. Michael is shot multiple times, but he survives. 1 hour later, someone calls the Vallejo Police Department. A man's voice, calm and deliberate, says, "I want to report a murder. No, a double murder." He gives the location. Then he says something that stops everyone cold. He tells them he was also responsible for the murders at Lake Herman Road 7 months ago. Then he hangs up. 3 weeks later, July 31st, 1969, 3 envelopes arrive simultaneously at 3 Bay Area newspapers: the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald. Each envelope contains a letter. Each letter contains 1/3 of a coded cipher made up of 408 symbols. The letter demands the newspapers print his cipher on the front page, or he'll kill again. He signs it with a crosshair symbol. He calls himself the Zodiac. A school teacher named Donald Harden and his wife Betty cracked the cipher 8 days later. What they find is not a name, it's a manifesto. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. He ends by saying he will not give his name, because if he does, people will try to stop him collecting slaves for his afterlife. The Bay Area is now in full terror. September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa, Napa County. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard are picnicking on the shore. A figure approaches wearing a black hood with a white bib bearing the crosshair symbol. He claims to be an escaped convict. He ties them up. Then he stabs them, both of them, repeatedly. Brian survives, barely, with multiple stab wounds. Cecilia dies 2 days later. Before he leaves, the Zodiac writes on Brian's car door, Vallejo, December 20th, 1968, July 4th, 1969, September 27th, 1969, 6:30 by knife. He's keeping score, and he wants everyone to know it. October 11th, 1969, San Francisco. A cab driver named Paul Stein picks up a fare in the theater district. The fare directs him to Presidio Heights and shoots him once in the head. 2 teenagers watching from a window across the street see it happen. They call police and describe the killer, a white male, heavy-set, wearing glasses. A responding officer drives past a man matching that description and lets him go, because the radio dispatcher incorrectly broadcast the suspect as a black male. The Zodiac walks away, again. Days later, a letter arrives at the Chronicle. Inside, a piece of Paul Stein's blood-soaked shirt. The letter mocks the police for walking past him that night. Then he adds a threat that triggers a response, unlike anything the Bay Area has seen before. He says he's going to blow up a school bus. The Zodiac case becomes the biggest manhunt in California history. Multiple police departments, Vallejo, Napa County, San Francisco, are all working the case. The FBI becomes involved. They have a voice recording, a composite sketch, handwriting samples, pieces of a victim's clothing, a partial fingerprint, witness descriptions. And yet, the investigations stumble. The departments don't always communicate. The fingerprint evidence is mishandled. The sketch doesn't match the descriptions from the other attacks perfectly. Meanwhile, the letters keep coming. The Zodiac writes to say he's been watching the police. He writes to mock their incompetence. He reviews the film The Exorcist approvingly and signs off with a tally. He writes, "I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner." Police put detectives on school buses. Parents keep children home. The Bay Area lives under a shadow. And then on March 22nd, 1970, a woman named Kathleen Johns is driving with her infant daughter on a rural California highway. A man pulls alongside her and signals that something is wrong with her rear wheel. She pulls over, he helps her, or appears to. She accepts a ride. For the next hour, he drives her around, making strange comments. She escapes when he stops at a gas station, grabbing her baby and running inside. She looks back. Her car is on fire. At the police station, she sees the Zodiac composite sketch on the wall. She identifies him as the man who gave her the ride. The last confirmed letter arrives in January 1974. He reviews The Exorcist. He gives himself a score of 37 kills against the SFPD's 0. Then silence. The Zodiac simply stops. No more letters. No confirmed attacks after 1969. No deathbed confession. He either died, he was incapacitated, he was imprisoned for something else, or he simply decided to stop. No one knows which. Over the decades, investigators have developed dozens of suspects. 3 have risen above the rest. Arthur Lee Allen, a former elementary school teacher's aide from Vallejo, a convicted child molester, a man with an obsessive interest in hunting and violence. His childhood nickname was Zodiac. He owned a watch, a Timex brand model called the Zodiac, with a crosshair symbol on the face. Exactly the symbol the killer used as his signature. He had used the phrase "the most dangerous game," the same idea echoed in the Z408 cipher before the murders began. He was at Lake Berryessa on the day of the attack. His shoe size matched prints found at Presidio Heights. When police searched his trailer in 1991, they found materials consistent with the bomb making described in the bus bomb letter. Multiple people told investigators that Allen had spoken before the murders about wanting to hunt humans. This is the most compelling suspect file in the history of the case. But here's the problem. DNA from the Zodiac's letters does not match Arthur Lee Allen. His handwriting did not match the Zodiac's letters. And 2 of the surviving witnesses were shown Allen's photograph and were not definitively able to identify him. Allen died in 1992. He was never charged. In 2021, a group called the Case Breakers publicly named Gary Francis Post as the Zodiac. Post was a house painter who died in 2018. They claimed his forehead scar matched the composite sketch. They claimed to find an anagram of his name hidden in the Z340 cipher. The FBI did not endorse the claim. San Francisco PD said the case remains open. And in December 2020, a team led by David Orenchak finally cracked the Z340, the 340 symbol cipher that had defeated every expert for 51 years. The solution required identifying a transposition pattern layered on top of the substitution cipher. The decoded message confirmed the Zodiac's voice. It mocked the police. It referenced the afterlife slave collection. But it did not contain his name. It draws. The Z13 still sits unsolved. 13 symbols. The Zodiac himself said it contained his name. No one has cracked it. San Francisco Police Department still has the Zodiac case open. As of today, no one has been charged. No one has been convicted. The DNA from the letters represents a genetic profile of a man whose identity has never been confirmed in a database. The Golden State Killer was identified in 2018 using genealogical DNA databases, a technique that could theoretically be applied to the Zodiac's DNA profile. No public confirmation has been made that this has been done. The Z13 has never been solved. The Zodiac killed at least 5 people. He wounded 2 more. He terrorized an entire region. He was never held accountable for any of it. Here's where I land, and again, this is my analysis. Arthur Lee Allen is not innocent. The weight of circumstantial evidence against him is extraordinary. The Zodiac watch, the nickname, the location at Berryessa, the shoe prints, the bomb materials, the geography, the pre-murder statements about hunting humans. All of it fits. The DNA is a problem. I'm not dismissing it. But DNA from 1960s era envelope lickings, handled by multiple people over decades, is not the same quality of evidence as fresh DNA from a crime scene. Contamination is possible. It's also possible the Zodiac had an associate who helped him, someone who licked his envelopes while Allen wrote the letters. Gary Post? The case breakers are not convincing me. The anagram method is too loose. The photo evidence has not been independently verified. My verdict, Arthur Lee Allen is the most likely suspect. The case against him would not have survived a competent defense attorney in court, which is why he was never charged. But here's the thing about the Zodiac case that separates it from everything else. The answer might literally be sitting in 13 symbols. The Z13, the cipher the Zodiac himself said contained his name. If that cipher is ever solved, with modern computation and the AI tools we now have, the Zodiac's name may finally emerge from the noise. 51 years for the Z340. The Z13 might be next. 5 confirmed victims, 20 letters, 4 ciphers, 55 years. The Zodiac Killer is the most famous unidentified killer in American criminal history. Somewhere out there may be a person who knows the answer. A child who grew up with a father who was a little too interested in the Zodiac case. An elderly neighbor who said something once that never quite made sense. If you have something, anything, the San Francisco Police Department's cold case unit is still taking tips. Subscribe to Dark Verdict. Drop your Zodiac theory in the comments. Next time, the Black Dahlia. January 1947, Los Angeles. A woman found cut in 2 in a vacant lot, and a murder investigation that Hollywood has been burying for 70 years. Justice may be slow, but Dark Verdict never stops.